It's time for this channel to go to the apes, or go ape shit. Insert ape pun here. We're reviewing all the Planet of the Apes movies, y'all. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my road to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Coming up in May, we're getting a new Planet of the Apes movie, and the first to be under the Fox banner, but in name only. This is Disney's version of Planet of the Apes, and while the jury is still out on the quality of the movie itself, the trailers are looking rather promising. But I figured now's as perfect time as any to review all of the Planet of the Apes movies. And honestly, I love these movies. I don't think there is, of the ones that I have seen, a truly horrid one in the bunch. Beneath is not great, and from what I hear, the Tim Burton one is awful, but I have not seen that as of this recording. And Jacob Collins is going to be joining me for that one. But as I sit now, the Planet of the Apes movies are a fairly consistent series, and so I am very much looking forward to covering them for this channel. And so, what better way to kick things off than with the one that started it all, a true, genuine, stone cold classic of sci fi, Planet of the Apes from 1968. Planet of the Apes was directed by Franklin J. Schaffner. It was based on the book written by Pierre Boulle? Boulet? His name will be in the lower third. I apologize for butchering it. And the movie starred Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowall, and Kim Hunter, among others. And I don't really need to tell you the synopsis of the movie. If you've clicked on this video, you know what this movie is about. Astronaut, one of whom led by Taylor, played by Charlton Heston, crash lands on a mysterious planet that is ruled by apes, and humans are pretty much seen as animals. So basically, it's the exact opposite of what we know in our world. While this movie is a definitive all-timer, there is a lot of fascinating stuff behind the creation of this movie. Turns out, before the book was even published, Arthur P. Jacobs, a legendary producer of the 60s and the 70s, he was shopping the movie around to various studios, and it was initially supposed to go to Warner Brothers, but they declined. But had it gone to Warner Brothers, the original director for this movie was supposed to be Blake Edwards, the man behind the Pink Panther live-action movies, as well as movies like The Days of Wine and Roses starring Jack Lemmon. I like Blake Edwards as a director, but I do not see him directing this. Jacobs would begin to forge a relationship with 20th Century Fox through producing another movie of theirs called What a Way to Go, and because of the success of that movie, Jacobs was able to pitch to studio head David P. Zanuck to say, hey, you want to read about my ape movie? But even Zanuck wasn't truly convinced. And so, on March 8th, 1966, a sort of test film was created to please Zanuck and show off the concept. Charlton Heston was involved, and his character's name was Thomas, of all things. And as a stand-in, one of the actors kind of holding Thomas in, and I imagine the courtroom scene, was James Brolin, the father of Josh Brolin. The film went over so well that Zanuck basically said, all right, we're in the ape business. One of the writers of this movie was Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling. He does not have solo writing credit for this one. He almost did. Basically, he almost had solo writing, but another writer had to step in because Serling's plans were too ambitious. 20th Century Fox didn't have enough money, and Serling's idea was basically, from what I have read, basically having apes living in like a futuristic type of city, with humans being even more primitive than what we see in the movie, while the apes are pretty much behaving like futuristic humans. And, well, Zanuck and Fox didn't have the budget for that, and so it was scaled down to where the society was more primitive. However, The apes still acted like humans and the humans still acted like animals, just not in a city. In case any of you were curious, the budget for this movie was, and I want to hammer this point home, $5.8 million. $5.8 million. I'll give you a moment to pick your jaw up off of the floor. First Planet of the Apes movie is very precious to me. I remember this being one of the first movies I ever watched, I believe, in a science class in middle school. The movie was rated G. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And because of the G rating, it was allowed to be shown in a middle school. You can't show R movies in a school. It's even walking the tightrope with PG-13, but PG and G were solid. And Planet of the Apes was rated G, and so it was allowed to be shown in class. And I just remember having my mind blown. Even in like the late 2000s me, like young me was just like, this is so crazy to see. And as the years have gone on, I pinpoint this movie as like really the point where I fell in love with sci-fi. And from there, like it was just sky's the limit. And I grew up watching Star Wars, and that is like foundational stuff. But thinking about like sci-fi as like an idea and the concepts therein, I attribute it to Planet of the Apes, this first one. As a matter of fact, in terms of the genre of sci-fi, I recommend that this is a good place to start. It's a mixture of the science, but also the fiction, in that it's a world that mirrors our own, but it's not our own. But the movie presents concepts in a way that are easily understood and could, in some cases, unfortunately, mirror our own. I don't really need to tell you that the makeup in this movie looks awesome. It does. It looks even awesome in 2024. The makeup man behind, well, the makeup was John Chambers. He would win an Oscar for this, well deserved, and would go on to help the CIA save 6 Americans from the Canadian ambassador's house during the Iranian hostage crisis. Watch the movie Argo for more information. There were extensive classes and drills to get the actors to speak in the makeup as normally as possible, because they're wearing gobs and gobs of the stuff on their face and their body. That could not have been comfortable. So Chambers made sure to make it look as natural as possible, and everyone involved just did a great job. You can never tell that it's just like paint and just goop on these people's faces. I don't see Roddy McDowell in a suit. I see Cornelius. I see Zira. I see Dr. Zayas. Like the makeup and just the different kinds of apes that you see. It's just genuinely incredible stuff. And this was pulled off in 1968. Keep in mind that this movie is over 50 years old. I'm bad at math, but it's over 50 years old and it looks so good to this day. Easily the most prevalent of the human characters is Charlton Heston. He has the most iconic moments of the movie, the "get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape," among other things, including the ending. But Heston does a good job, and 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 just him trying to navigate this world along with us, the audience, it was a lot of fun to see because he's restricted from talking. He can't talk, period. He's wearing neck, this like leather necklace around his neck, so it restricts his windpipe so he can't talk. And when he does, he's like treated horribly, in a mirror image of humanity, I guess. And I cannot stress enough that this movie was rated G, and I bring it up as important because there are a couple of deaths in the movie that will make you go, whoa. Like, there is one specific death where one of Taylor's fellow astronauts is killed off screen, and then the next time you see him, he is taxidermied and stuffed in one of the science buildings that the apes work in. That's kind of screwed up if you really think about it. Seeing just a stuffed man, just like seeing him standing there, just lifeless, it just like skin crawling stuff. Even taking into account just how wildly different the MPAA is nowadays to what it is today, This is at the very least a PG movie, but no, the P is lopped off and the G stands alone. It's weird, but I like the 60s. That's all I gotta say. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you know about the twist that happens at the end of the movie. I can't help not talking about it, so here is a spoiler warning. Fast forward to this time code if you want to hear my final thoughts, but if you don't want to have the ending ruined for you, skip past this part. At the very end of the movie, Taylor escapes with a mute human named Nova. They escape to this beach type of beachy area where Zira and Cornelius have helped them escape. And basically, they come across the legendary ending of seeing the massive Statue of Liberty on the beach and Taylor screaming,
Maniacs! You blew it up! Damn you all to hell!
the twist being that Taylor didn't go far. He just traveled back in time and is back on Earth, or forward in time in this case. It's one of those twists that you just never really think about, but then you put the pieces together and you realize, wow, that's actually scarier than going to another planet because you never truly left your home. You just leapt forward a few thousand years. Scary stuff. You all have heard me talk pretty glowingly about this movie. It's getting an amazing grade. Honestly, with the exception of maybe some of the Matt Reeves movies, I don't think a Planet of the Apes movie would come close to this one in terms of quality. And like I said, I enjoy the remaining of the Apes movies going throughout the 70s and so on in the original series. I do enjoy them, but they would never be able to top the genius of the original. Everything across the board is just flawless from top to bottom. If you have not seen the movie, do yourself a favor and watch it. And with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes coming out, I mean, there's no better time to check it out than right now. But if you have seen Planet of the Apes, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for Saturday, where I will be covering probably the worst of the original series. Of the original series, I haven't gone to the Burton one yet. It is the sequel that Charlton Heston joined on just to blow the entire world up. It is Beneath the Planet of the Apes.